Facebook and clicking it. I need like a producer. Anybody want to volunteer for that job? I need somebody to sit like the other end of the table or when I'm at the office off screen and just kind of put this stuff up so people can see it. How's your day going? Anybody want to volunteer to be my free, um, non-paid um, producer of this show? I mean, non-paid at the moment. If we, get to the point where we could ever do it, I'd be more than happy to give somebody a little bit of a stipend or salary of some sort for that. It's definitely something worth looking at. Anyway, how you doing? So I was making a video on I forget what it's called now. Clapper. It's an interesting little app. You should go check it out. I was making a video on Clapper a little bit ago, updating everybody on my health situation because I am doing a lot better when it comes to my health. A lot better. Legs are clearing up finally. Arms are pretty well cleared up at this point. Um, Hoping to see more and more improvement each day. Still kind of having some issues at night with pain. Itchiness, not so much, but like joint pain and like pain in my legs at night when I have a really, really big, busy, whatever day. But nothing compared to what it was just 2 weeks ago. So that's awesome. Amazing. Praise God, we're not um, dealing with, oh boy, not dealing with any kind of horrible situation there. So I thought, well, I'm gonna make a video and update everybody. So I'm making a video updating everybody. I started talking about a debate my wife and I were having when she was on her way out the door. My wife was recently, what do you call it, recruited, that's the word, to sell Pampered Chef. Now, here is my kind of dilemma with that. What um, what's different between that and enslavement? I'm not trying to make light of slavery. That don't flip out on me. What I want to discuss is this idea that there, like my wife has all these cooking things. So we got a shelf over here, and she got all her little cooking stuff, right? And she's got her mixer, and she got her blender, and she got her da 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 pans and pots and stuff. And there's stuff on there that has been sitting there for months collecting dust, and she doesn't use it. So I said, oh, that's great, honey. You're doing Pampered Chef. Oh, what kind of percentage do? What's the commission? I work in sales. What's the commission? Commission. Well, I get stuff. I'm like, okay. So you go out and nag all your families and friends and throw a party and whatever. Um, and you talk them into buying stuff they're barely ever going to use. It's mostly just going to sit around and collect dust. Um, and you talk your family into buying that, and your reward for talking your family into buying a bunch of crap they don't need is a bunch of crap you don't need, and you can put it on the shelf over there and it can collect dust. Well, that's not true. I'm going to use that. We both know better. There's there is stuff. There are things that I bought her over the years that she just had to have because she just absolutely loved the idea. Da 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 da. And had to have it, whatever. That she just doesn't use. Just not at all. Doesn't use at all. So I'm looking at her going, you're basically just hawking crap that you don't need, or crap that people don't need, to other people, so that you can get stuff you don't need for free, so that it can sit around the house and collect dust, and you can be like, look, but it was free. That's like, that's kind of like going to a store, and you go in to get toilet paper, and you see that televisions are on sale, so you buy 3 TVs you don't need because they're on sale. Oh, wait, what? I already got it. Like, what do you buy? I don't need another TV, but it's on sale. I'm going to spend $300 on this TV because it's on sale instead of $500 when it wasn't on sale. Even though I don't need it now, wouldn't need it then. Like, yeah. So we're. I don't know. What do you think? That has nothing to do with anything that we're talking about. There's no biblical precedent or anything like that. And God love her. I'm glad she's got something to do. But I'm just kind of looking at it, going, "Wait, is this? It just doesn't. To me, it doesn't make sense." I'm like, well, it reminds me of Tupperware. They did the same thing with Tupperware, didn't they? They get you to go out and sell it to your friends, and then all of us end up with butter dishes in the cupboard anyway. So is that I think I remember my mom buying like Tupperware off some friend at a Tupperware party or whatever, right? And then she had the Tupperware in the cupboard, but we never used the Tupperware because then we would get it dirty. So instead of using the Tupperware, we would use the butter dishes, or the cheap stuff, that she bought somewhere down there. And the Tupperware just kind of sat. Well, you can't use it. You don't want to use it. It's good stuff. The Tupperware was kind of like the China plates. Of course, we didn't really have China plates. Most of the time, it was paper plates. That way, we don't have to do dishes later. It's like having that actually is what I'm looking at. It's like having good china that you're not allowed to use. It's like having towels that you're not allowed to use because they're decorative. I got a towel hanging in my bathroom. It's decorative. What do you mean decorative? It's a towel. If my hands need dried off, I'm going to grab the towel and I'm going to dry off my hands, right? That's what's going to happen. It's like having soap that's decorative. I've seen people that have that. They got a little soap dish. They got soap. And you should see their faces when you use their decorative soap. They're like, that's not for people to use. You use the soap over here in the little squirty bottle. Then why do you have the soap there? Like, that's decorative. It's just meant to be. That's like buying somebody a turkey-shaped butter, and they put it out on the butter molds that look like turkey or whatever, and so you got butter on the table at Thanksgiving that looks like turkey, but you're not allowed to use that butter. You use the tub of. Then why did you pay $7 for butter in the shape of a turkey? That is just insane, right? I don't know. Maybe I don't know. You tell me. It's gonna get me in all kinds of trouble with all kinds of people talking about that, I'm sure, but I'm just curious. I'm not saying stop buying turkey-shaped butter. I'm just asking, why can't we use the turkey-shaped butter instead of the butter in the tub? Because number one, it's turkey-shaped. Number two, it was really expensive. I want to taste the really expensive butter. You got a little tiny turkey-shaped butter that's half of what's in a tub of butter, but it costs twice what a tub of butter costs. That's got to be some good butter, right? That's got to be the best butter you ever tasted. Right. How's it going, folks? Hope you're having a great day. We're going to get back to our show. I'm watching this dropped frames thing as I'm talking the last 10 minutes, and it just keeps dropping frames. It keeps dropping frames. I don't know why. Doesn't make any sense why we're dropping frames. And I was trying to... Well, it could be that. It could be the server. But if that's the case, then lower your bit rate, it says. Maybe if I lower my bit rate. Okay, well, where's that? I know that setting's here somewhere. Can I do that without ending my video is the question. Probably not. Probably can't drop the bit rate without... Oh, here we go. Bit rate. Okay, hardware. Yeah, see, I can't drop it without ending the video. And I don't want to end the video because I don't like ending the videos. I haven't gotten anywhere with it. I guess I haven't really started yet, so I could probably drop. You know what? Let's I just shared it all on Facebook. I just got it shared to all the different places on Facebook. Well, I'm going to keep going and see what happens, because it looks like it's been a minute or so and we don't have any drop. I'm sure as soon as I do something, though, it'll be like dropped frames. We'll do the next hour, see how that works, see where we're at there. So we were talking about James. I told you guys go ahead and read James 1, and I told you and our audio audience that we are going to talk about the rest of James chapter 1 throughout the next couple of hours on air and the next hour on here, because it usually takes about an hour and a half on video to do our audio show. So I figure about an hour-ish. We'll see. And then we'll go from there. How's that sound? Right now, King and Country, God Only Knows, taking us to the first audio break for our 1 o'clock hour on God's Love Live. Takes a second. God Only Knows, that is for King and Country. There's a kind of love that God only knows. You know, I love that song, and I understand that song, and I get where the message of that song is coming from, but I disagree with that statement. I disagree with how it kind of sounds, although, like I said, I know where they're coming from, and I know what the message they're trying to get across. But there's a kind of love God only knows, except He shares it with all of us. Offers it through his son's sacrifice on the cross, offers it to all of us. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I want to get back into James. We had been talking about verses 2 and 3. We read verses 2 and 3 about considering it pure joy when you face trials of many kinds, because it helps develop perseverance. Now verse 4 kind of expands on that a little bit. I did it again. Dang it. Gonna have to start this. For King and Country, there's a kind of love God only knows. Although I would attest, the kind of love God only knows He offered to us through His son's sacrifice on the cross. The kind of love that God only knows He offered to us through His sacrifice on the cross. I would argue that is the rest of the story. All right, so we were talking about trials and temptations. We were talking about verses 2 and 3 in the last hour of James 1, and how we should consider it pure joy when we face trials, because it develops perseverance. Now, verses 4 through, I don't know, the rest of the section, but I'm going to say, the next couple verses, verses 4 especially, talks about that perseverance. So I'm going to read verse 4 and 5. Perseverance must finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. If any of you lacks wisdom, he should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to him. But when he asks, he must believe and not doubt, because he who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. The man should not think he will receive anything from the Lord, or he is a double-minded man, unstable in all he does. This is pretty significant, and probably going to take the rest of this hour to discuss these couple of verses, because here's the thing. It says in here, I'm going to work my way backwards, I guess, maybe. We talk about a man should not think he will receive anything from the Lord, because if he does, he's double-minded and unstable. But we're told in God's promises he will provide for us. Well, that's the thing. It's not that God is saying he's not now he's contradicting what he said earlier. He won't provide because you expect him to. No, it's that expectant thing. We're to do God's work, and if we're doing God's work and we're busy about God's work, he will make sure that we have opportunities, or possibly just things show up that you weren't even expected, to take care of our provisions in a major fashion. Um, you shouldn't be thinking, "What will I receive?" If knowing that doing God's work, He'll provide for me in some way or another. That's fine. Expecting or doing the work to get the provision, that's a different thing. All right, and then we go back a little bit more, and we look at 5 and 6. If you lack wisdom, ask God, who gives generously. Right. So I'm asking God for wisdom. He's going to give it to me, but it just said, but in the next verse, it's going to talk about how I shouldn't expect to receive anything. Does that include that wisdom that you just told me to ask for? See, it's kind of like, it's that thing that like don't expect, don't feel entitled to any kind of extreme comfort, or it's the idea that there are some people who will say, they literally tell people who are listening to them, I guess you call them preachers, whatever, they'll be like, all right, well, get out your checkbooks and send me your money, because when you do, God's going to give you tenfold for sure. And then you send in the last $100 you have, and 3 weeks later you can't pay your $100 water bill because you ain't got that $1,000, and you're like, wait a second, this dude told me send me your money and God will give you 10 times that. I gave him the $100. Where's my 1,000? That's what they're talking about in this expectation of receiving something. God's promising to take care of your needs if you do His work. He is not promising to take care of your wants, especially when it comes to that kind of situation. And then I want to touch, or I want to concentrate on the next two breaks on perseverance must finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God. And I want to touch on 2 Peter chapter 1, and the section is verse 3 all the way through verse 11. I'm going to touch very much. I'm going to concentrate quite a bit on 5 through 9, maybe 10. Yeah, possibly 11. I'm going to talk a little bit about that Peter. So if you want to look up 2 Peter chapter 1 and read 3 through 11, you'll be ready for the next section where we're going to talk a little more about chapter 4, or verse 1 of James, chapter 1 of James, verse 4. Wow, I'm in rare form today. The Imperial's coming right up now on God's Love Live with Chuckles in the afternoon. All right, so let's see. What time is it? 1:04. So I can get rid of. I got to dump a couple songs. I know that because I have a lot of songs set up and ready to go. However, okay, should be good. So I touched on this Peter verse in the audio break, and I just want to bring it up to you guys. And 2 Peter chapter 1, and the big part of what we're going to talk about is this verse 5 through 9, and we're going to read it in the next audio break. So I won't read it right now, because in the next audio break I'm actually going to read 5 through 9. But you should read literally 3 through, well, you could read verse 1, it's just the greeting, but chapter 1 through verse 11, and just kind of be like, oh yeah, okay. There's just so much in here, and the 5 through 9 is going to be paramount to our next hour's discussion. So we'll get back to the audio break for the next hour, if I can get my computer to cooperate. Okay, next break is going to be brought on by Hillsong Worship. Remembrance taking us to the next audio break. That was Hillsong Worship here on God'sLoveLive.com. Chuckles in the afternoon, and we're talking about chapter 1 of James, touching a little bit on Peter too. So I hope, or 2 Peter. So I hope you got a chance to look at that. Like I said, you could read the whole first 11 verses of chapter 1, but I want to talk specifically about verses 5 through 9, and we're going to read them in this break. Talk a little bit about them in the next break. And maybe a little bit in this break too, but first let's read them. 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 5. For this very reason, make every effort to add to your faith goodness, to your goodness knowledge, and to your knowledge self-control, to your self-control perseverance, and to your perseverance godliness, to godliness brotherly kindness, and to brotherly kindness love. For if you possess these qualities in increasing measure, they will keep you from being ineffective and unproductive in your knowledge of the Lord Christ Jesus. But if anyone does not have them, he is nearsighted and blind, and has forgotten that he's being cleansed from his past sins. Now it's interesting because it doesn't say in here if you have these qualities in perfection. I mean, it could, I guess, but it doesn't. No, it says if you have these qualities in increasing measure. I think that's a kind of a big deal, honestly, because we want these qualities in increasing measure, right? Every one of the qualities that we listed there. This could be a whole nother week-long study. I'm not trying to get into it in big time, but maybe we will at some point. But as you develop these different things, they develop, like, it just happens. Okay, Ryan did a sermon series on this a while back, and he touched on this, and it took weeks. These 4 verses, maybe even 10 and 11. Therefore, my brother, I'm going to read 10 and 11 real quick. Therefore, my brothers, be all more the eager to make your calling and election sure, for if you do these things, you will never fall, and you will receive a rich welcome into the eternal kingdom of our Lord, Savior, Jesus Christ. That last part, verse 10 anyway, be all the more eager to make your calling and election sure. That's what we're talking about with the mission. Your calling to whatever mission, personal mission God has for you, is tantamount to opening up the ability to serve the kingdom the way that you should. And we talked about serving people the way they need, not the way they want or the way we think they need, but actually meeting them where they need us to meet them, in one of our videos last week. And that's what this is kind of touching on. And if you look back to this perseverance finishing its work, you think about it, if you follow these words of James, you're going to end up in the words of Peter, and you're going to end up doing just that. You're going to add to your perseverance, I forget the order, love. You're going to add this to that, to that, to that. And you're just going to constantly add. You're going to constantly have these qualities in increasing ways, which is going to bring you closer to the Lord and aligning your heart to God. I think we covered that. So we'll read, in our next break, we will read James chapter 1. We'll start in 9 and we'll work our way down to 12, just to try to split it up. We've got 2 more hours after this, so hopefully we can cover it all. Right now we'll start with chapter 1, verse 9, and we'll read down through 11. Coming up in the next break, stick around. You're listening to Chuckles on God's Love Live. Coming up, Hank Williams Sr., Dust on the Bottle. I said that wrong. I said Dust on the Bottle. Dust on the Bible is what it was called. I'll let it go. We'll see if anybody notices, sends me a note. Anybody on the audio, you guys are, you get to see it on the video, so. All right, Stephen Curtis Chapman, not home yet. So we're going to do this break, and then we're going to take a break of our own because we keep having dropped frames. I'm going to go see if there's anything I can do to stop that problem. I don't know what's causing it, so I don't know how to solve it. You know what? Actually, let's just finish up the video and we'll pray for a better connection tomorrow. How's that sound? Maybe. We'll see. All right, let's see. We're going to read the next 9, or we're going to read 9 through 9 through 11 on the air right now for King and Country, taking us to that break. No, it's not 2 for Tuesday. Yes, I play a lot of For King and Country. I like their music. Casting Crowns, Mercy Me, Hank Sr., Stephen Curtis Chapman. I mean, I play a lot of the music that we hear because it's all so great. We're going to do chapter 1, verse 9 through 11. We're going to read it right now, and then we'll talk about it in our 2 o'clock hour. I figure we might as well. I expected this to be finishing up through verse 7 this break, so we're like a break ahead. It's not terrible, considering how much there is to talk about here. First chapter of James, verse 9 through 11. The brother in humble circumstances ought to take his pride in his high position, but the one who is rich should take his pride in his low position, because he will pass away like the wild flower. For the sun rises with scorching heat and withers the plant, its blossom falls, and its beauty is destroyed. In the same way, the rich man will fade away even when he goes about on his business. We're going to talk a little bit about that in the next break, and we'll see where we get. How's that sound? Right now, Stephen Curtis Chapman, not home yet. Let's see if I can catch that. Nope, too late. I guess I'll listen to the voicemail. I do that. All right, so that ends our 1 o'clock hour. Wow, it's not terrible. What are we at? It's 1:13. We're getting ready to start our 2 o'clock hour, or maybe I'll chop this up. Maybe I will end the video at 30 minutes. Maybe I'll end the video with the reading. I was going to say I'll end the video with the reading of chapter 1, verse 9 through, and then you can come into the next video. But that just means you got to click into the next video. And it means I got to go do all that stuff over again. And no, what we're going to do is I think I'm going to cut the video, and then I'm going to record the rest of today's video discussion on James and upload it later so that it doesn't have all these dropped frames. Because it's like 50%. I don't know how much, how terrible that looks for you guys, but to me it's like, so I got to go figure out what the problem is. I'll finish this video